that one of the team's better performances for a while, do you think, on the weekend?
Yeah, it was a tough gig, especially the way we finished the game. We knew Port Adelaide going into the game were the best finishing side in the game. So when we got to three-quarter time, we were able to really ice the game early in the last quarter. That was a pleasing thing to come out of the game.
Jason Duss was saying Friday night he thought maybe for the previous 5 or 6 weeks you'd been a bit off your best. Is that a fair call?
Yeah, it's probably a fair call. I think we've really played 4 great quarters of footy for quite a while, and on the weekend there were little bits and pieces. Obviously, the second quarter, I think they kicked 6 goals or 5 goals, so not ideal for us. But I thought over the course of the full game, it was probably the best game we've played for a couple of months.
See, players get dropped every week, but when a player of the status and quality of Brad Sewell does get dropped, does it sharpen everyone else up a little bit?
Yeah, it certainly does. I think probably does a few things. Once it makes the senior guys think, gee, I've got to play well here and I've got to continue to play well. And also gives the young guys a fair bit of hope. And guys that are maybe just out of the side, makes them think, gee, I'm a chance. You know, if we've got a guy like Brad Sewell out of the side, it means that they can obviously drop anyone. So, he's obviously disappointed that he didn't play on the weekend, but he'll bounce back, quality player, and he'll get his form back and get back into the side. But it does means we're in a good place if we've got that many blokes that can play that we can leave him out the side.
Would you expect him to come straight back in, or does he have to go back to VFL?
I've got no idea. Depends what happens with blokes that are sore and that sort of thing. Obviously, he'd be available this week from a physical point of view, and what happens between now and the weekend as far as selection goes has really got not a lot to do with me in the first place, and then secondly, what happens with the Bulldogs, what their side's going to look like, etc.
I know it's not a lot to do with you, but Buddy, what's the latest there? A little bit of mystery about not.
Yeah, I don't know if it's mystery. It's just a pretty basic, a little bit of swelling behind his knee, which it wasn't a big deal. If he'd done it in the game the week before, I think he probably would have played. But he did it sort of at training, and it didn't settle down as quickly as they'd like. And because it's Bud, everyone's so interested in it. But I imagine he'll probably be available for this week. And obviously take the conservative, the same way we have with Cyril, very conservative. Where we're at this time of the year, you don't want to have a re-flare of anything like that. So if there's any risk, you obviously leave him out of the side. But I'd imagine he'll be available for this week. It's not a big deal.
What about Ben Stratton, Sam, after the head knock? Does he come up okay?
Yeah, I've seen him walking around the footy club and stuff. He seems fine, but you've got to do the concussion testing. I think the way players treat concussion now is a lot more respectfully than perhaps 3 or 4 years ago. I think you do your testing and you actually want to know if you're okay. So he'll go through that process. I haven't been through it myself, but I think it's quite arduous, and they'll do a lot of testing through the week and make a decision probably Thursday.
Just on Buddy, is it less of a blow than it would have been in previous years when he's out of the side, just given there seems to be a bit more of a shared sort of load up forward?
I think our record without Bud has been okay. Clarko's probably big on playing your role. Everyone does their bit, everyone plays their role, and whether it's Bud that goes out of the side or Ben Stratton or Brad Sewell, someone else comes in and just plays the role. They might not play it exactly the same way. Not too many blokes are going to play Bud's role the way he does, but I think it just shows a bit of quality now in our side that we can all come in and play our roles. Probably 32 or 34 guys that can come in and play at any given time, and might be a little bit different structure without Bud there and without Sully there, but it's not a big deal losing one player for 1 or 2 weeks.
Is this the best you've seen Jared Ruffett play, do you think, throughout his career?
Yeah, it is. He's playing really good footy. He's playing a lot of different roles. Even on the weekend, he's probably stuck in the forward line a little bit more than he has been over the last couple of months. I think he's really enjoyed being able to roam around the field a little bit and play a few different roles. And he's playing really good footy. He's really enjoying his footy, and he's up and about. And plenty of head wobble about him when he's around the footy club. So don't pump him up too much. His head looked like a blimp.
He's leading the Coleman though, so he's
I know, he told me about that just before. He's pretty happy about it. He was flat when Josh Kennedy kicked a couple yesterday.
What about your own year, Sam? Have you enjoyed the bit of a change in role and spending a bit more time down back?
Yeah, sometimes I don't mind. I guess keeps me on my toes. Learning a lot. Luke Beveridge, our defensive coaches, tucked me under the wing a little bit. I've learned a lot about defensive play this year, and being able to play different roles, I guess, makes you a harder team to play against. Hodgie's playing multiple roles. Sean Burgoyne's doing the same thing, and a lot of our small forwards are going through the midfield, and I'm obviously going through the back line and midfield. So I guess it makes us a little bit harder from a coaching point of view coming up against Hawthorn. You're probably not sure what you're going to get, and we aren't really sure what we're going to get either until sort of Thursday when the coaches present us with what they think the best strategy for winning that week is. And I think I've parts of it I've enjoyed, part of it you find frustrating. You like to play in your best position sometimes, but coach has been really good, really open and honest about the way we've gone about it, and I'm more than happy to just play where the team needs me, which has been half-back a fair bit this year.
Is it making any difference to the way you're pulling up after games, the fact that maybe you're getting out and winning a bit more uncontested balls?
A little bit, probably in a funny kind of way. It's harder because you have to run more. Everyone probably thinks that the midfielders run the most, and in a sense they do, but there's a lot more physical contact as a midfielder. When you're playing half-back, you're covering a fair bit more ground. So you pull up a little bit differently. When you're a midfielder, you pull up with sore shoulders and arms and ribs, and when you're playing half-back, I guess your hamstrings and your quads and your lower back and that sort of thing from all the extra running. But they're good roles, and I've been pulling up fine every week, so been able to so far play every game this year, so I've been pulling up okay.
Just on Buddy again, what does it
Surprise?
do? Yes. What does it do for the psyche of the group when you've got your president saying that an individual is going to be offered the biggest contract in the history of the club, and everyone's sort of pulling for the same sort of team goals, I suppose, in the end?
Oh yeah, I think you got to accept what it is. The salary cap's bigger than it's ever been, and he's as big a game as there's ever been, as big a player in the game as there's ever been, and to be honest, I think he probably deserves the biggest contract Hawthorn's ever had. It's not to say that he's better than players that signed contracts 5 years ago, but the salary cap's bigger, and guys like Hodgie and Cyril and Ruffy, they've all already done their contracts with a smaller salary cap. So the fact that he's got a bigger contract than all of the rest of us hanging above him, I don't think that'd be a surprise to me. Players are, we're not all jocks. We do understand that the way the salary cap works, he's a good player who deserves a lot of money.
So the players don't read anything into it. There's no
No, I should get more.
Yeah,
No, there's none of that. Ruffy maybe, but the rest of us, we're all fine with it. Yeah.
Seems from all reports he's as happy as he's been around the club. Have you got any read on what he's thinking?
No, I got absolutely none, to be honest. He's just as happy-go-lucky bloke as he's ever been. Whether all the boys love having a laugh and a joke with him, and you're signing Guernseys with 23s on the back, and you're having a joke with the kids about what they're going to do, etc., and all that sort of stuff. It's all fun and games. Everyone's just having a good time about it. Everyone makes a big deal out of it out in the public space, but in the private space around a footy club, he's just one of the boys, and he's having a good time playing footy for us. We're having a good time keeping him.
Do you feel like he's more likely to stay than go?
I've got no clue. You have to ask him.
Was that the way to take it on board? Is just to, I guess.
It's not taboo. You're not going to have this big elephant in the room. Everyone knows that his contract's not signed, and everyone wants him to sign, and he's not. And it's not taboo. We talk to him about it and heckle him about it, and he tells us to push off. It's just footy club's still a footy club at the end of the day.
A lot of talk and speculation around the Essendon situation, and Joe Watson possibly losing the Brownlow medal is one of those. How would it sit with you if you were to move up and, I guess, be retrospectively awarded the medal?
Yeah, this is one of the ones that gets heckled about too. All the boys have been more than happy giving it to me about that over the last few weeks, but certainly not the way you would want to win a Brownlow medal, is it? But it's got really nothing to do with me. A bit like the selection stuff. There's so many things I don't even understand it all. The SADA and WADA and the AFL Commission, and so many people making decisions on something that I've got absolutely no idea about. But if you're going to win a Brownlow, that's probably not how you want to do it, is it?
What are the boys calling you, Charlie, or something?
No, they just think I should always come second. So it's Ruffy's thing. So I'm hoping he comes second in the Coleman. That's a joke.